So if you stumbled across this video, you're probably considering buying a Prusa 3D printer, but you're not sure whether to buy the kit version or the fully assembled version. So what I'm going to do in this video is share my experience with the kit version and also explain a few other things that you might want to consider first. So let's take a look. So what's the difference between the two? Well, the obvious difference is that the assembled version comes fully assembled and is pretty much ready to print straight out of the box, whereas the kit version comes in hundreds of different small little pieces and you have to build it all yourself. But other than that, there are two main factors here that you want to consider. The first one is cost. So currently, at the time of making this video, the Mark III kit costs $699 and the assembled version costs $899. Now that's a £200 price difference, and that's a lot of money. And if you're willing to buy the kit and put it together yourself, that's £200 you're saving, and potentially £200 that you could spend on other things in the hobby. You know, you could buy a bunch of different filaments for that. You could buy a bunch of other tools that you're going to need for 3D prints. But also, one other thing you can consider is that is money you could put aside for future upgrades. So Prusa always release upgrade kits further down the line, which is what I love about Prusa. So if you buy, for example, I own a Mark III, and about 6 months after I bought the printer, Prusa released the Mark III's. So what they've done is just released an upgrade kit. So the upgrade kit I've bought costs £17, and you have to print the parts yourself. There's a couple of extruder parts, but it comes with a new filament sensor. But for £17, you know, I've upgraded and I'll have the latest version of the Mark III. I also spent £38 on a new powder coated steel sheet, which is awesome. So you add that up, you know, I've spent maybe £60–70 on upgrades, whereas if I had bought the assembled model from the start, you know, I'd have paid that extra £200, and it's just eating more money away at your hobby essentially. So the second thing to consider is risk. Buying the kit is definitely more risky than buying the assembled version. And what I mean by that is, you know, if you're not too familiar with electronics or you're not too familiar with building mechanical assemblies, you have more of a chance of messing something up, right? So you could build the printer, get to the end, turn it on, and something's not working, something's wrong. That being said, Prusa do make the build process as easy as possible, and I'll get on to that in a sec. Prusa have a great customer support system, but they also have an awesome quality control system. And it's kind of what Prusa are known for, is their quality. And it's one of the reasons why the Mark III costs so much. It's because you're paying for that absolute quality of product. And Prusa are really known for providing that. So that means that before things are sent out, before the products are sent out, they're thoroughly checked, quality control. They're checked to see if they work. And this means that they can kind of tell, you know, if they ship the product and then you come back and say something's broken, something's not working, chances are, if you bought the kit, it was your fault. So you could end up having to pay for those replacement parts. That being said, if something is seriously damaged on arrival, if something crazy happened to the smooth rods or anything like that, they would straight up replace them as long as you can prove it. But that's just something to consider as well. So if you're going to buy the kit version, you're going to need two things: patience and more patience. And the reason is, it takes a lot of time. So in all seriousness, the Prusa kit is aimed at DIY kind of people, right? People who have good problem solving skills, people who are not afraid to take a risk, people who are not afraid to take things apart or break things. So if you're a person like that, buy the kit. Me personally, I come from an electronics engineering background, so for me, it was perfect. You know, I'm used to all that stuff. I actually love the process of building the printer almost as much as I do using the printer now. So if you're a similar person, I think you will know what decision to make. The assembled version is probably aimed at people who, you know, maybe are not so comfortable with electronics or building machine assemblies. Or maybe it's just, you know, maybe you don't have enough time to spend 2 to 3 days putting something like that together, and you know, that's fair enough. Some people don't. If you have kids or you have a lot going on at home in your family, you just don't have the time. And in that case, it might be worth paying that extra 200, you know, so you can just get stuck straight into your 3D printing. But what I will say is, for people like that, I highly recommend you learn as much as you possibly can about your 3D printer, because at some point or another you're going to have to do some servicing and maintenance on the printer, and that becomes a lot more difficult if you don't have that fundamental understanding of how the printer actually operates. And if you are interested in learning how to service and maintain your Prusa Mark III, I've made a separate video on that, so go click the card above and that'll take you to the video. It's a really awesome video and I'm sure it'll help you out. Assembling a £600 printer can be a really daunting thing, you know, even for someone like me. But I want to reassure you that Prusa make this build process as simple as possible, and they've done a fantastic job with the instruction manual, because everything is, you know, numbered and labelled perfectly. In terms of the instructions themselves, they're probably the best I've ever seen, honestly. Like, I know sometimes sort of furniture instructions and things like that can be an absolute nightmare, but this has been done properly, you know, and it's all thanks to the open source stuff, because Prusa have an online manual and it allows input from the users. So if you actually follow the online manual, it has common sections and things underneath, so people can, you know, report problems or post solutions to any problems that they've encountered. The whole build process took me around 12 hours in total, and that included calibration, which involved quite a bit of debugging as well. So I actually split this up over 3 days, I think it was, and the reason I did that is because I really didn't want to rush it, you know. I wanted to take my time and get everything perfect, and it paid off, because I built the printer, I turned it on, and it pretty much works straight away. So consider doing that as well, you know. I know sometimes you can get really excited when you get a brand new printer and you want to put it together as fast as you can, but just take your time, and if you do that, there's less risk of you damaging any components. So I can't stress enough just how important it is that you get to know and understand your printer and exactly how it works. And the only way you'll get that information is by getting hands-on. You know, start asking questions like, what does this part do? What does that part do? How do these parts work together? And when you start asking questions like that, that's when you really start to gain an understanding, and you'll be so much better off in the long run when it comes to troubleshooting and things like that. And as I said before, eventually you're going to have to service and maintain your printer, and that becomes a lot more difficult if you don't have that fundamental understanding of how it works. So that's it for this video. Hopefully I've provided you with enough information that you can go and make your own decision. But once again, you know what I'll say, please go and buy the kit. You'll save yourself £200 and you'll gain a ton of knowledge from it. But if you genuinely don't have enough time, or you're not that confident building things like that, go and buy the assembled version. It'll cost you a bit more money, but if it makes you feel more comfortable, then that's the one for you. So before you go, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate all of you that subscribe and watch my videos. It means a lot. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for more videos, and please leave a thumbs up on this video if you found it useful. If you want to support me in other ways, there's a link in the description below where you can do that, but it's up to you. If you want to see more of my videos, click one of these, and I hope you have an awesome day.